Imagine an entirely ordinary morning in one of the most heavily guarded, deeply historic cities on Earth, when it suddenly faces an unstoppable nightmare. We are looking at the chilling reality of a hypersonic strike on London, a crisis where time is, quite literally, your absolute biggest enemy. Let's get right into it.
So, put yourself right there. Imagine you're walking across Westminster Bridge. Tourists are snapping photos near Big Ben, office workers are grabbing their first cup of coffee, buses are rumbling through traffic, and trains are humming beneath the streets. It feels like every other normal morning in a modern metropolis. But then, the impossible happens. Somewhere, far beyond the horizon, something has already crossed the point of no return.
A flash, a warning, a voice on a screen, an alarm that sounds way too late to even matter. In that split second, the entire rhythm of the city changes forever. The point of no return is crossed. Reaction time is just gone.
Part 1. The Hypersonic Terror. When speed defeats security.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this specific type of weapon completely flips everything we thought we knew about modern defense right on its head. On one hand, we've got this illusion of safety. London is a massive symbol, right? It has survived war, fire, centuries of immense pressure. But then on the other hand, we have the hypersonic reality. Against weapons moving at these absolutely incredible speeds, our high-tech defenses just turn into desperate guesses. The comfort of having any time to respond is entirely stripped away.
And it's super important to understand the true nature of this threat. A hypersonic missile isn't just terrifying because of its explosive power. It's a weapon that arrives almost too fast to stop, completely stripping away the comfort of alarms and emergency protocols. The real terror here is psychological. We're talking about absolute zero warning time. No way to brace yourself.
Part 2. A city in collapse. The immediate domino effect.
The moment those blasts hit, the cascade of chaos is instantaneous. Within seconds, people hear a massive blast in the distance, then another. Within minutes, digital networks are totally flooded. Misinformation, wild rumors, and raw grief just spread like wildfire on phones and social media. And in those exact same minutes, an immediate state of emergency is declared, while the government desperately scrambles under immense pressure to confirm the sheer scale of the attack.
The city's infrastructure tries to react, but it's instantly overwhelmed. Hospitals activate mass casualty protocols. Surgeons and nurses are working without a second to rest. Transit systems completely shut down, trapping people literally right where they stand. Schools go into immediate lockdown. Offices empty out into the streets. Temporary shelters just pack with frightened civilians. Imagine the sheer panic on the ground. Parents racing through blocked, smoke-filled streets trying to reach their kids, while first responders are trying to push their way in the exact opposite direction.
Part 3. Global shockwaves beyond physical destruction. Because a strike on a major capital doesn't just stay local, right? It instantly turns a localized nightmare into a massive worldwide crisis. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how. In the political realm, security councils erupt, leaders get pulled into emergency meetings, and allies demand answers. Financially, markets shake. London is a massive pillar in global finance, so supply chains tremble across continents in mere minutes. And then there's intelligence. Agencies are desperately searching for proof, for attribution, while simultaneously trying to evaluate the terrifying risks of military escalation.
Those intelligence agencies and world leaders would be scrambling to answer impossible geopolitical questions. Who launched it? Why now? Was this just a warning? Is this the start of a much larger global conflict? Or is it a deliberate attempt to completely overwhelm the very idea of stability itself? Every single second they wait for these answers carries the weight of hundreds of thousands of lives.
Part 4. Humanity in the rubble, civilization reveals its true face. Amidst all this geopolitical panic, we have to zoom back in on the people. In moments like this, civilization reveals its true face. That thought is profound because, well, it's incredibly true. In a crisis of this sheer magnitude, yeah, some freeze and some will try to exploit the chaos. But the reality is so many more will actively choose to help. You see it in these really poignant acts of everyday heroism right on the ground. A taxi driver taking a stranger to safety for free. A nurse staying at their station long after exhaustion should have caused them to collapse. A teacher calmly holding together a room full of terrified kids. A train worker guiding passengers deep underground to safety. A police officer restoring order at a broken intersection using nothing but their voice and a radio. These acts don't erase the horror, for sure, but they absolutely prove that while humanity bends under unimaginable pressure, it doesn't fully break. Part 5. The unthinkable future, rebuilding more than just walls. So, what does a post-hypersonic world actually look like for the generations that follow? Repairing a city after something like this isn't just about fixing buildings or roads. It's about rebuilding trust, confidence, and that invisible bond people have with the idea that civilization can actually protect them. That shattered illusion of safety, that is by far the hardest thing to repair.
Governments globally would have to take massive, sweeping steps to adapt to an era where speed itself is a weapon. First, security policies would harden immediately, and we'd see air defense investments absolutely surge. Next, civil defense planning returns right to the center of the national conversation, kind of like we saw in the Cold War. Finally, emergency systems are completely redesigned, and public drills become a serious, everyday part of life again. We would be forced to wake up to the harsh reality that society must radically rethink what safety even means.
Which leaves us with the most chilling question of this whole explainer. What happens when technology advances faster than peace, faster than diplomacy, faster than our human ability to actually prevent catastrophe? This scenario forces us to imagine the unthinkable so we can appreciate what we still have. Before it's ever truly tested, the world we trust is far more fragile than it looks. If this exploration sparked a realization for you, drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember to subscribe for more explainers diving into the kinds of consequences that could reshape our world overnight. Catch you next time.